Okay, it's just easier to do it this way. But this is the kind of commenter I was talking about. I struck a nerve and they went on a whole tirade, and I'm going to try to address what I can, but they said a lot and I'm not going to remember it all. Starting with this comment, they were talking about the cartridge with the code inside, and they're arguing that Nintendo said that first-party games will always be on the cartridge and third-party games are the only ones using the code, and they just pulled that out of their ass because Nintendo hasn't said that, and they haven't made it a rule. But that's not really what people are upset about. People are upset because this is being implemented and it costs money, plus the virtual game card thing, and it seems like they just want control. And if you buy a game, you want to just own your game, and if you want to sell it, you should just be able to sell it. Next point was about the cost of upgrading your game so you could play it with better hardware. And they're arguing that when you pay for it, you're going to get expansions and DLC and all this extra content, and the free ones are going to just be the game itself. And they pulled that out of their ass because that's not what's happening. Nintendo said it's really complicated. Basically, some games will be free. Some games are going to cost money. Some games will include DLC. Some games will include expansions, and some will only be allowed through Nintendo Online. And when you compare that to Xbox, who just does it for free, it looks really bad on Nintendo, and that's what people are upset about, that they have to pay for something just so their hardware can run the game better. But the last point is a hell of a lot more complicated because they made a whole bunch of points to argue one point, and they just totally missed what I was trying to say, because I was talking about pricing. But one of the comments was about the cost of the Switch and how it never came with two controllers, and I never argued that. They just pulled that out of their ass. I was talking specifically about the Super Nintendo that came with two controllers in a game, and the reason I brought that up was for pricing. It had nothing to do with how many controllers it was. The point was that for roughly the same price, you used to get two controllers, a game, and a console. And now you only get a controller and a console, and not even a good controller. And so people are saying that Nintendo needs to raise the price because of inflation, but they've always been raising it. They just sell you less stuff for the same price. And again, arguing with the same point, they were talking about you don't need to buy all the DLC for every Nintendo game. Never argued that. They pulled that out of their ass too. Can I suggest go seeing a doctor because you have a lot of space in there? Anyways, I was arguing that games have cost roughly the same price and Nintendo hasn't raised it. And people are saying that that's why they're raising the game prices, because gaming has gotten more expensive. Except Nintendo's been raising the price for a long time. Because back in the day, you would buy a game and the whole experience was there. If you wanted any extra unlockables, you did it through gameplay. And then they started introducing having unlockables by paying for them. And then they started doing DLC. So if you want to play Breath of the Wild, you can. But if you want to experience all of Breath of the Wild, you have to pay extra. So they raise the price without raising the price. Even though this person is really upset and they're yelling at me as if I'm the one making these arguments, the whole point of everything is that people are upset because if Nintendo had only done one of these things, it wouldn't have been a big deal. But they're doing it all when the economy is crashing. And it just seems greedy because things that other companies do for free, Nintendo is trying to charge you for. And when Nintendo never lowers the price of any of their games or their consoles, it just seems disgusting, especially when Nintendo's being shady.